class of 2022. I'm proud of you all. You've made it, you did it, and congrats again.
Okay, and next up we have Professor Shane Lewis presenting the Audio Production Awards. Thank you.
All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Professor Shane Lewis. I'm here with Professor Heidi Gerber-Zalens, and we're very proud to represent the audio department here at Howard. I'm also proud to be an alum of Howard, so I know what this day feels like, and I'm happy to see you all here, see you all graduating and going on to do bigger and better things, and we're just here to present out a couple of awards for our department. So let's go ahead and get started. So the following students, we just want to recognize for their time in the program. Of course, they did exemplary work. Had the pleasure to teach most of them, so I know what they're capable of. We're just going to go ahead and share some names. Sure. All right, thank you. First, we'd like to offer an award to Bryce Burrell. Next up, Justin Palmer, you in the building? Next up, Jaylen Whitehead, you in the building? So it's okay. Next up, we have Jarius Wells, in the building. All right, the next award we'd like to present is for time at WHBC, our own student-led station, and that award goes to Tatiana Brown. Are you in the building? The next award we'd like to present goes to the audio student with the highest GPA, and that award goes to Jade Whaley. Share a few words about how you achieved this.
Through hard work, prayer, and faith in myself, faith in my family, faith in what I want to do. Thank you so much to my professors. Thank you to Howard, to the School of C for giving me the opportunity to shine and, share my life. Thank you so much. And because of this, I now have a job, I have a position, so I will be working after that.
Hop in and recognize a student whom I taught more than one semester. Once in a while, a student like this comes through your classroom, consistently excellent in every way. And in our little slice of MJFC and audio production, this student consistently produced compelling, engaging, meaningful audio storytelling. I try to teach my students to work with intent, that we make no lucky mistakes, but rather put our minds and hearts to the most important parts of our message. This student never failed in that task. I'd like to recognize Ayana Green.
Yeah! Ayana Green! Yeah, girl! Period! Look at the white dress. Oh my God, look at the heels. Oh my God! I love you! Woo! Yes, sir! Yes, sir! Yeah!
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much to Professor GS for teaching me every everything that I know about audio, for helping me discover a passion in it, and for celebrating me so much. Thank you. Thank you, God, for bringing me here, for bringing me through this journey, and these 4 years have been amazing. Thank you to my family and my friends who are here, for supporting me, for reminding me of who I am and that I am capable of this. And congratulations to everybody.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Srikanth Nandikama. I am the Film and Television Sequence Coordinator. Firstly, congratulations to the entire class of 2022. You guys have sailed to the other side. It's amazing. It's been really tough. The last 2-3 years have been very difficult and challenging, but I think you did an amazing job just to get through all the difficult time, and congratulations again. So we have few awards from the film and television sequence, and I'm really proud to present these awards. First is the Film and TV Production Award to Jaylen Ford.
There he is, baby. There he is. Yes, sir. He speaks with the camera.
Next is Paula Matabani Award in Documentary Film, goes to Kai Hartman. Next we have Outstanding Service Award for Peyton Mack.
Yeah, girl. Yeah, girl.
Next we have Student Exemplar Awards. First goes to Michaela Mosley.
Thank you to my family and my community and all my friends who have supported me, and my professors too. Thank you.
And the next Student Exemplar Award goes to Nija Packer. The next Student Exemplar Award goes to Gabrielle Wright.
I just want to thank all my friends and family. I know how hard it is. How some people try to say oh, SOC is so easy, but it's not, because it's hard to be creative. So I'm really proud of all my peers. So congratulations to everyone, and thank you very, very much.
Good morning, everyone. Before I even get started, I would like us to just level set. Can we just stand and applaud all of our graduates for making it this far? We have so much to celebrate today. Well, good morning again, everyone. I'm Jaylen Thomas, a career journalist and proud alumna of this very department here at Howard University. And it is my honor, on behalf of the journalism sequence faculty, if they can stand so they can be acknowledged, our journalism faculty. And we're here to honor just a few of our amazing collegiate journalists. Now, each semester, I challenge students in the journalism practicum and Capstone broadcast journalism classes to create a quote that best describes their views on our noble profession. Hopefully, it's our hope that they will use these quotes as they begin their careers, from classroom to newsroom. One of those quotes by Janae Bradford says, "Without journalism, the world would never be aware of the daily activities occurring internationally and how we can help each other be better citizens despite our differences." Well, my personal quote is that journalists are the defenders of democracy, freedom fighters of the First Amendment, and savvy and sophisticated storytellers. And that's what the journalism sequence aims to do. To train ethically responsible journalists who are members of what we refer to as the Fourth Estate, who are dedicated to sharing the stories that might otherwise not be told. These scholars have exceeded expectations, and as we've already heard today, they've learned how to pivot. They have reported from the White House and Congress to the Supreme Court, NCAA championships, and even, yes, the Super Bowl. They have landed esteemed internship and fellowship opportunities. They've learned the importance of working at community newspapers and magazines, to serving as budding journalists with publications and outlets such as the New York Times, Washington Post, ABC, NBC, ESPN, to CNN. They've learned how to balance their reporting with their personal views, even when Howard became the focus of the story. They've produced award-winning magazines, campus and community digital outlets, and broadcast to millions on Howard's own PBS station. And they are the first ever Ida B. Wells Society student chapter and home to the nationally award-winning Howard student chapter of the National Association of Black Journalists. They have placed or won Student Emmy, Society of Professional Journalists, National Association of Black Journalists, and Hearst Journalism Awards. But most importantly, they are ready to transition from classroom to newsroom, control room, as multimedia journalists, producers, anchors, editors, writers, content creators, entrepreneurs, documentarians, directors, and reporters. Let's now take a moment to honor our journalism students with a few awards. And we have several to acknowledge. We didn't have a separate sequence award ceremony, but we want to acknowledge our seniors who have taken leadership positions in various organizations and clubs throughout their time here at Howard. I'm not sure if everyone is here, and I don't have my glasses. So I will say their names. If you are here, please come up, and if not, we'll hold it for you. But we do have Annenberg Honors Scholars Program, and we have two graduates, Ryan Thomas and Courtney Williams. Also, we have the distinct pleasure of having our students represented at the White House Correspondents Association dinner. And as some of you may have seen that broadcast just last week, well, we have two graduates that were able to take part as scholarship winners, and those are Ariana Cobb and Donovan Thomas. I'd also now like to call up very quickly two of our journalism professors who are going to do presentations for, we have our 101 magazine, as well as we have the only HBCU that has its own fact-checking website called Truth Be Told. And so I'd like to call up our two professors, Erica Blount and Professor Rice Lamb, Yana Bryce Lamb, and they will announce those awards.
We're really proud of the work that the students have been doing with 101 magazine, and we're especially honored because they won the Best Independent Publication Award from the Society of Professional Journalists for Region 2, which means that they're a national finalist win the award. We hope to be winning again. We won it before for the Howard University News Service. And one of the things we've also been proud about too is that they've done several digital issues in the past year or so during the pandemic. So at this time, I'd like to recognize a couple of people. I hope they're here. First one is Jaylen Ford. She was the creative director of the issue. We're going to print it right before the pandemic, and then that hit. Fortunately, she organized the cover shoot before then, and she also organized an ambitious project called 101 Changemakers and Creatives. So we'd like to salute her. I don't see her. Person is Jaylen Williams, who served as managing editor for the publication, that issue. And I know he was tired this morning, so I'm not sure if he's here yet, so we give him a certificate. And Jaylen also was a finalist for a Hearst Award in explanatory journalism. He wrote about Flint, Michigan, where he's from. We're all familiar with the problems there. And his piece is also featured on HENewsService.com and our Bleeding All Black project on environmental issues and problems. So next I'd like to recognize Anaya Hughes, who was creative director for the fall issue of 101 magazine. And then Erica Scott also teaches, Erica Blount also teaches 101 magazine. That's a short
Thank you. Thank you, parents and students, for your hard work. So we wanted to recognize the editor-in-chief of 101, who was our left hand and right hand. She did a little bit of everything, even through contracting COVID. She was still working on issues, and I had to tell her to rest. But she has been just everything for us in terms of getting the issues out. So Brian Scott. Also want to thank Fatu Drama. She is here. And then another award to Lanaya Collins. And then the last award is actually for Truth Be Told, and that is for Jaylen Williams. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. So we're going to continue with our awards. We mentioned earlier about some of our amazing journalism organizations. And I know, speaking of Lanaya Collins, one of her quotes that she put on her website was that the way to right the wrongs is to turn the light of truth on them. And that quote was by none other than Ida B. Wells Barnett. We are fortunate here in the journalism sequence to have the very first chapter of the Ida B. Wells Society for Investigative Journalism. And we'd like to acknowledge Donovan Thomas, as the very first president of the organization. We're also excited that we have a very robust chapter, probably one of the largest student chapters of the National Association of Black Journalists. And this year we were excited that we were announced as the National Student Chapter of the Year for the Howard University Association of Black Journalists. And we have our President and Vice President, Ariana Cobb. Come on up, Ariana, and Bryce Burrell, who have beautifully served. For lack of time, we won't talk about all the wonderful things that our organization does, but it really helps lay the groundwork for students from our New York tours to our virtual tours to many of the activities and service projects they do to really prepare our students to transition into their careers. So congratulations. And they've both been active since their freshman year. Now we have, our students really go above and beyond to do a lot of the work. We get asked by everyone from WHUT television to different organizations on campus and schools and colleges to assist them. And so one of our seniors who had an opportunity also to interview, he's done a lot of interviews. We are so proud he did Nicole Hannah-Jones when she first came, and of course she's our newest faculty member, and we're excited to have her on faculty. But he's also being recognized today for his work with an assignment with the School of Business and a project that he did for J.P. Morgan. And they wanted to make sure to acknowledge Makai Washington.
Ooh, Makai! Yes, sir! Do not play with him. He is not one of them. Yes, sir.
Also accepted a position with ABC News, y'all. And we're going to continue now. We have Howard University News Service is one of our community-based digital outlets that we partner with more than 100 members of the Black press. Okay. And I'd like to call Professor Lamb back. We are going to acknowledge students who did a lot of producing with their stories on Howard University News Service on the digital and broadcast.
So at first we'd like to acknowledge Gregory Smith Jr. He was a standout reporter in the fall. And he was a go-to person and he covered everything from sports to COVID. Okay, we'd also like to recognize Nia Marshall. She's actually been a reporter for this semester. And she was our Cathy Brown Jackson reporter. She covered everything from the announcement to the Supreme Court to the hearings. She got into the hearings. She also went back to the White House when she gave her speech. So she did a really great job, excellent job in covering that. Next, we'd like to recognize our co-editors, Chanel Kane. Some of that might not have gotten done if it wasn't for Chanel. We were up late into the night. She was a real trooper. And she's been a great leader and negotiator, I must add, for the students. And our other co-chair, who you've seen walk up here before, it's no surprise, is Donovan Thomas. And together they also led our coverage of the bombing attacks, the bomb threats for HBCUs, which we covered all of the schools that were threatened.
Stand up there.
And we'd also like to recognize Ariel Love, another go-to reporter who stands on the case, did a lot of deadline reporting, and in addition to her own pieces, and did multiple pieces for our Reading All Black project. Okay, and the last person from the news service we'd like to recognize today is Catherine Gilliard. That she's also a finalist for her award for investigative reporting for a suicide article that she wrote that was pegged to the death of Regina King's son and the mayor of Hyattsville, and then the entertainment reporter who also died 3 in 1 week at that time. And she did a lot of intense research for that piece on Deadline.
Okay, now we'd also like to honor some of our broadcast students who also were really great at their reporting. As you know, for the broadcast section, they're having to write, shoot, edit, report, and turn it all around on Deadline. And it's not really an easy task, and they've done a great job with producing their work. So if they are here, we'd like to recognize Hadia Presswood. Hadia is actually a December graduate, but she produced a lot of work for Howard University News Service. The next person I want to acknowledge really went above and beyond from day one, before we were even assigned reports. She said, I want to cover Nicole Hannah-Jones. And since then, she produced, I don't know how many stories for Howard University News Service, from the renovations being done on campus to sporting events. She was able to cover many of them. So we'd like to honor Sarah Jones-Smith. And while Sarah's coming up, I want to also recognize one of our other students who is in the broadcast journalism section. She also did a magnificent job covering stories. And she was quick to pick up stories from Charter Day to when the Vice President came to campus to just this week covering the White House. And that is none other than Megan Western. Megan Western is one of the anchors for our final newscast, and Sarah served as the producer. finally, another broadcast journalism student who was very active with her stories being broadcast on HU News Service is Alex Williams. So now we would like to very briefly call up, we have our online, digital, and campus award-winning historic newspaper, The Hilltop, which is also online. We have our advisor, the Pulitzer Prize-winning Keith Alexander, also my classmate from Howard University. He's going to come and present the Hilltop Awards.
Good afternoon. Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. It is a pleasure to be here. Yes, the Hilltop, the nation's oldest African-American collegiate newspaper, right here on Howard's campus. Come on, give it up for the Hilltop. One of the co-founders of the Hilltop was who? Zora Neale Hurston, that's right. We are very proud of the Hilltop's legacy. The Hilltop has numerous alumni. Isabel Wilkerson, Howard University's first. Michelle Miller, who's on CBS Morning News, Stanley Barrett, who's on ESPN, Gus Johnson, who's the voice of basketball. The Hilltop has an illustrious history of stars, and these are just some of those stars who will go on and make us so very proud. And I'm so honored to have been selected and worked with these young people as their advisor during this past academic year. So first up, we want to honor the managing editor of the Hilltop this year, Ms. Teresa Anderson. Teresa stepped forward and came with her stars. I mean, she made the Hilltop survive this year during the pandemic, during the uprising and everything. Teresa came out as a star, and I'm very proud to work with you. Thank you very much for all you did. Next up, well, the brother should just have a seat right here because he's always back and forth. Mr. Donovan Thomas, former Hilltop editor, a leader star, going to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution undergrad, an education reporter. Brother got a job already. Was also an intern of the Washington Post and the New York Times. Donovan Thomas, make sure you make a note of that. You will know that name real soon. Donovan Thomas. Healthcare reporter, correction already, healthcare reporter. And also, lastly but not least, Ms. Jaylen Ford. Ms. Jaylen in the house. Also, Hilltop, she was a star. She did our social media. She was out there putting out stories on the web on behalf of the Hilltop. So we're very proud of Ms. Jaylen Ford as well. Thank you very much.
And we have just a couple of categories remaining. We'd like to honor, so when the students are entering their senior year, they take their final capstone course. And for journalism, that class is worth 6 credits. It's a very strenuous course. The students have a lot of expectations on deadline, and they can't finish Howard without successfully passing. And while we're very proud of all the students that have successfully created stories and articles, a few of them really stood out. And for sake of time, we won't go in because we can say a lot about all of them, but we want to acknowledge our students in the Capstone News Lab course, as well as a couple of students in the Capstone News Vision course. So Professor Lamb and I will acknowledge them. And Professor Lamb is my cohort teaching the digital news lab.
Yes, and Jennifer Thomas, Professor Jennifer Thomas is a great co-pilot. I'm honored to work with her. We've had, both of us, our classes, our capstone classes are really exemplary, and they did a lot of great work this year. We're really proud of them. So the Capstone Award, we're singling out 2 in each class. So you've seen them earlier. One of them is one of our co-editors, Chanel King. Again, as I mentioned, all of the students in our capstone classes have worked really, really hard. And this student in particular has had to run really quickly, on deadline, turn things around quickly, do enterprise reporting, chase down leads, go to some sessions that had nothing to do with the events. And she really did a great job. You met her earlier, and that's Naya Marshall, who covered
While she's coming up, I'll go ahead and start mentioning who our two broadcast Capstone Award winners are. So on the broadcast side, we are also reporting as well as producing stories that are broadcast on WHUT. This year, we've been very fortunate that students from both semesters have an opportunity to produce their stories as well as produce their 30-minute newscast as live that goes out to 2.5 million as well as online. And the awards for this Capstone Award goes to the two students who served in the producer positions this year. The producers do a lot, and I don't have enough time to necessarily mention all that they do, but they've worked extremely hard. One for our fall class is actually a December graduate who's currently working at CNN, Desiree Williams-Chin. This morning, but we want to make sure to acknowledge her. And for the spring class, this student has done so much, from covering the NCAA, covering the Super Bowl, was our first reporter in class. We are back covering the White House. She covered the White House and did her stand-up there. She's done just a magnificent job. I'm very excited to see where she will lead, and that is Sarah Jones-Smith.
Okay, our next honoree, you've seen him 1,000 times come up here today. And these are the top awards in our sequence, and this is in light of work that they've done from their freshman year to their senior year. And as you've heard earlier, Donovan was editor of the Hilltop, editor of HUService.com. He did an internship at the Charlotte Observer at the height of the pandemic. Didn't have to go there, but he moved to North Carolina anyway. He's done work with ProPublica. He's had a New York Times internship, a Washington Post internship, with our first partnership for the fall internship program at the University of Maryland. And as you heard earlier, he's going to be a healthcare reporter at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. And he's had a number of people trying to offer him jobs, so he's in demand already. We're really proud of the work that he's done and the leadership that he's done on campus, and for sharing his talent and his help with his fellow classmates. Please join me in honoring Donovan Thomas.
To say a few words.
I just want to say thank you to my professors for just like being there throughout the 4 years. They kind of turned like my mother. Thanks to my peers, thanks to my family. Thank God. So yeah.
Exemplar Award for Broadcast Journalism is a student I've had the pleasure of knowing since freshman year. She started off kind of quiet and shy, but I noticed the sparkle in her eyes. She was very determined. She excelled in both print and broadcast journalism. I had the pleasure of working with her as an officer with the Howard University Association of Black Journalists. She covered such great stories, missing men, and she was able to get the father of one of the missing students out of Arizona when people were still searching after him. She's just a shining example of everything that we want to exemplify as journalists in the Cathy Hughes School of Communications. I'm also honored to have written her recommendation and see that she will be attending the Columbia University Graduate School of Journalism on a full ride.
First, I just want to say, I didn't think I was going to get anything. Thank you so much to my family, to God, especially all my professors. I really wouldn't be where I am without all of you. Thank you to Howard and Mr. Thank you so much.
Patience in letting us present all of these awards. We have one award left, which is a very special award. And if Keith Alexander is still here, oh, here he is. He's going to call up the person to present it and explain what the award is about. And we thank you again, and we congratulate all of our journalism graduates, and we look forward to seeing you at graduation this afternoon.
So it is indeed my honor to present this award, or to co-present this award, on behalf of a gentleman who I worked with in several capacities. I worked with him, Mr. Robert Asher, at the Washington Post. He was there for a long time when I joined there, and also he was a professor here at Howard University. And I was also an adjunct here at Howard, so I got to work with him in both capacities. It is my honor to also introduce Mr. Asher's daughter, Julie. Julie Asher, you come up and make this award presentation on behalf of your father. Ladies and gentlemen, Julie Asher.
Good afternoon, and congratulations to all of you. I'm actually really honored to be here, so thank you. I'm just going to share, if I can, a few words about my father, Bob Asher, who was a journalism professor here at Howard for 3 decades. His career at the Washington Post spanned 50 years, starting as a copy aide, working his way to the city desk, writing obituaries, and eventually where he spent most of his career as an editorial writer, covering, among other things, local politics, transportation, and gun control. In his early years at the Post, he was leaving work one day with a few colleagues when the news came across the wires that Dr. Martin Luther King had been shot. He went back to his desk as phones started ringing off the hook, and with a team of others, started taking in all the news from reporters in the field. The culmination of those reports went into the first edition of the Post the next day. In the days following, as the city burned, he covered the riots on H Street and the meetings amid violence of activists, members of the community, and police force along the U Street corridor. That experience, along with his belief that the news industry at that time was, in his words, far too white, is how he came to Howard, where he taught as a part-time professor on lunch hours and during the evenings for 30 years. He spoke of his students with the same pride he spoke of us, my brother and me. In fact, we've talked about one of our vivid memories growing up. My dad sitting at our dining room table late night, reading papers and grading, every once in a while looking up and saying, "Gee whiz, listen to this," and he'd read a line or two. It's funny because as my own writing mentor, I was always conscious of him waving me away from using superlatives. Jules, they're overused. If you use them, make sure you mean it. But I will tell you this, when he was reading those papers, and whenever he spoke of his students, superlatives are all I remember. To say he was proud of his students here at Howard is the world's greatest understatement. He would be deeply proud today of the student being given this award. Managing editor of the Hilltop newspaper, who appears to have worked in radio and television and just about everything, a rising star who doesn't shy away from any medium topic or challenge. You're the very student, go-getter, active citizen, and force in the world, my dad would be gushing over with all kinds of superlatives. His birthday is next week, and I honestly feel on behalf of my family that presenting this award today is the greatest gift we could give him. I see him beaming right now as I present the Robert Asher Award to Teresa Anderson.
And ladies and gentlemen, just real quick, this award is a financial award, the only financial award, $1,000.
Well, first off, thank you, Alexander, and all the professors who all have been extremely helpful to me throughout these last 4 years. Couldn't have done it without you. Definitely had to lean on some of you this year with the Hilltop. So thank you for that. Thank you to the friends and families and the peers. You all challenged me a lot throughout these years, and you guys really set the bar high, so I was trying to keep up. So thank you for that. And lastly, the Hilltop is coming out with their final edition tomorrow. So it would be really nice if you all could pick that up. It's going to be available at commencement. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you all again for coming. Professor Sturgis, were you supposed to get final words? We are just so proud of all of our graduates in the Department of Media, Journalism, and Film, and I'm going to hand it back over to our department chair.
Wow, that was a great presentation. All of these wonderful students and all of their work is paying off. Again, I'm the chair of the department, Ingrid Sturgis, and I wanted to exercise the chair's prerogative by offering an award to a student whose work and perseverance stood out to me over the years. And let me tell you a little bit about him. I met Donovan Thomas as a freshman and watched his growth to hone his skills as an investigative journalist at every chance. In the spring of the pandemic of 2020, he was the editor of the Hilltop, a position he worked hard to get, a position that many news editors consider your first professional journalism job. He started off as a staff reporter when he was a freshman and moved from campus editor to news editor before taking the role as editor-in-chief. But because of the pandemic, he was more than just an editor. He had to work at an Amazon warehouse to make extra money, and he continued as a full-time student, all the while working for the Hilltop. And during that pandemic summer, he received an internship at the Charlotte Observer, North Carolina, and he moved there for the summer while he and the other interns never went to the office, even as he covered police brutality, protests, the impact of the pandemic on hospitals, schools, homelessness, and senior facilities. He spent the summer isolated from family and friends and attended meetings with his editor via Zoom. He emerged from this period in a better place. He received numerous awards and honors, including an investigative reporting internship in ProPublica's Emerging Reporters Program and at the New York Times Ida B. Wells Society Investigative Reporting Intern, an organization for which he serves as president. He was also recipient of the 2020 White House Correspondents Association Scholarship, among many honors. I'd like to take this moment to acknowledge the work and the exemplary work of Donovan Thomas. That was our final award of the day, and I thank you for indulging me. I'm beyond proud of all of you and how much you've accomplished. This is one more milestone to realizing your dreams. We've been tried and tested and came out standing. You are still here. To close, I leave you with these words from former First Lady Michelle Obama. You may not always have a comfortable life, and you will not always be able to solve all of the world's problems at once. But don't underestimate the importance you can have, because history has shown us that courage can be contagious and hope can take on a life of its own. Congratulations to everyone. Congratulations, parents, students, friends, and I wish you much success in the future. Thank you. If the students want to take a moment and come up to the front, we have some gifts for the graduating class. Thank you.
We just have one last acknowledgement. We want to thank Professor Ingrid Sturgis for her serving as the chair of our department. We're so proud. We have a wonderful resource. Her door is always open to student and faculty alike. We thank you for your hard work. That wraps it up. Congratulations.
Friends, be sure to come up to the front. Congratulations, class of 2022.
Bro, word.
Okay,